Good afternoon to one and all, coming live from Kigali, Rwanda at the Kigali Development Dialogues. The session titled today, this afternoon, is on Startup Africa. And in studio today we have a dynamic team of entrepreneurs who are inspirational in their own right, coming from different countries in beautiful Africa. And before I kickstart and getting into the details of the topic, I'll go with a round of quick introductions, starting with Candice from the NubiaNetwork.
Hi, my name is Candice. I'm from NubiaNetwork in South Africa. I run a digital marketing and app development agency where we work with African entrepreneurs to develop their brands into African markets. I've just very recently started a second venture because I really don't need any sleep, where I work on self-care products. I formulate skincare and self-care, hair care products that are formulated for self-care because I found as an entrepreneur that was something I neglected, and I'm addressing my own needs with that product.
Thank you, Candice.
Hi, my name is Sheila. I'm from Kenya. I'm a handbag designer. This is one of my designs. So my designs are based on a traditional basket in Kenya we call kiondos. And what we're trying to do at Okapu, that's the name of the brand, is try to change the perception, because most people in Kenya know kiondos as something our grandmothers and mothers carried. So we're trying to change the perspective into a more modern type of bag that younger people can carry, and we work with women in the village to weave these bags.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Nomuntu Ndhlovu. I'm from South Africa. I run a company called SiyaBuddy Recycling and Waste Management, and basically we are based in a rural area and we collect waste from different community members. We created 1,033 indirect jobs through that, so people collect waste and sell to us, and yeah, we're basically trying to get into the green economy.
Excellent. And you know, it's quite timely and relevant, people, that just last week the African Union and heads of state signed on the Continental Free Trade Agreement.
Yes.
And this makes this topic so dynamic and live. And obviously, as you know, the objective is basically to facilitate intra-African regional trade.
Yeah.
Now, in your view, how do you see such policy, regulatory, enabling your businesses for broadening your markets? Candice?
Yeah, I mean, in the tech space, we work, I do a lot of topics and discussions on the future of work, and the future of work is going into remote work, freelancers, the gig economy. When I started freelancing, I would get people on my team who are from Ghana as developers, who are content producers from Nigeria. I mean, in digital, there are no borders, right? So it's good that the rest of the world is catching up with that. But I think even in selling products, when in the product field, it's for me, it was crazy when I was doing some case studies for clients, especially in East Africa, the countries right next to each other, Kenya and Tanzania, for them to do business with each other is exceptionally difficult. And it's not a currency issue, it's just that communication across the board. And actual logistics across the board. So I think for us as women entrepreneurs, we have solutions that work in our own fields and our own communities, but they're so replicable across the continent. So I'm excited to see that we're opening up those borders for ourselves and we can really reach more audiences.
Good. Sheila?
Yeah, for me, I'm definitely excited about that because I get inquiries from all over Africa, from West Africa. They want my bags, but it's cheaper for me to send a bag to the UK than it is to send it to Ghana. And the cost of sending the bag ends up being more expensive than the bag. So, you know, we need more structure and more innovation in terms of making it easier for people like us to send our products across Africa. Yes.
Good.
I think in my context it's a bit different because I'm in recycling, and in the recycling sector, I mean, it's quite capital intensive. For you to get started, you need trucks, you need machinery. So it becomes a bit difficult for you to transact with other countries because also the transport cost to move things around cross-border. So I think in terms of e-commerce or the digital space, what needs to happen actually is maybe we need to develop some systems and processes that you can replicate in another country so they are able to do exactly what you do instead of trying to take myself outside the borders. Yeah. So I think that would be a better model in terms of scaling than so using technology in terms of processes and those things to expand than physical presence. Yeah.
Very good. Entrepreneurship has been defined by Michael Porter as being a visionary.
Yeah.
And in all of you, I see some level of visionary thinking, which is fantastic. Maybe you could each tell me your story of what inspired you to choose this path. Okay. Candice?
So I call entrepreneurship spiritual boot camp for me. I worked in corporate for 5 years. Great job, great level of exposure, but I was working across Africa a lot. I worked in Ghana, Kenya, Zambia, Zimbabwe, Mauritius, South Africa. And I just saw all these entrepreneurs, or many entrepreneurs, who had such great ideas and products, and they weren't able to develop themselves in their own home market because other companies from outside the continent would come and outmarket them essentially. And that's where my idea to start NubiaNetwork came from, to work with local entrepreneurs to brand themselves to their own market, because even the market has a bit of resistance to buying from fellow Africans, right? So there's a whole system we need to change, and that's where it came from me. Maybe that's what the visionary part is. But really for me, entrepreneurship has been a journey of myself getting to know myself through the work I do with other entrepreneurs, and I'm always learning. It's definitely a journey, it never ends. Yeah.
Excellent. Sheila?
For me, how I started is, as I said, we have the local bag, the kyondo. So I saw one in the market, I bought one for myself. And then my friend saw it and she really liked it, and she said, you need to sell me this bag. So I sold it to her with no markup, just to go and find a replacement. The replacement, my other friend was like, that is so cute, I need that bag. So the thing is, what I realized is, people don't know that this bag is actually stylish. So my main inspiration is actually I want to maintain the culture and show people this art is so beautiful, because we've forgotten. Like in Kenya, for example, we're no longer taught art and craft in our school. So I just want to show people, like, you know, as Africans, we're really good with our hands. We need to invest in these things that are so innate to us. You know, we don't need to be exporting billions of bags from China. We can make our own bags, you know. So that's really what drives me. And of course, income for the women, you know.
Excellent.
Yeah.
For me, I think it found me. It was the other way around. What happened, I was working in corporate as well. I was a management consultant. And a friend of mine, a family friend, was working for the Department of Environmental Affairs. So he was the one who was more exposed with the green economy and what was happening. So because of the upcoming trends and what he was seeing happening in his industry, he said, you know what, you have the business skills, I have this science skill. I know you did science in varsity as well. I think it will work well if we work together to come up with this thing. And once I was in it, I saw the potential of it in terms of job creation and actually the effects that it has on the environment. So yeah, that's how it started, and it grew from that. So now looking into more things that we can do in terms of climate change, and yeah.
Excellent. So we see a nice trend from moving, gaining skills in private sector, with a transfer of that into entrepreneurship, circular economy. So that's a really inspirational story for other youth and women-owned enterprises. Now,
I think it's actually quite pertinent in like with African entrepreneurs, because I mean, me and Nomuntu actually studied science together. I never thought, right? I never thought I would get into business. I didn't know what business was. I didn't even care for what a cash flow count, whatever it is. And then I studied business afterwards. You know, she got into management consulting. Sheila's now running her own business.
I've just learned through experience. Every day is a lesson, because I've not been in this field before. I was working in renewable energy. So every day is a lesson for me, and I appreciate the lessons.
And I think it speaks to the resiliency of African women, able to adapt and work into fields that make sense for us. You know.
And I definitely see the agility, the resilience, and the grit. And those are success factors in such a competitive continent. Now, finance has been described as the lifeblood of a business. And by all measures, and in my view, it's not the only measure, but the banker will say at the end of the day, are you cutting it, are you breaking even, or are you sinking? So what is, firstly, how is your financial strategy and resource of your business? Perhaps you could unpack that in some way, Candice?
Yeah, so I mean, I think we have to be careful about just thinking that the only resource you need from business is finances. You need human capital, especially in the services industry. That's important. And like I say, I think we're lucky to be in Africa because we have so many opportunities. In my field, I work in tech where we need very skilled labor. And I'm very resourceful on finding human capital that would cost a lot of money, but I have partners who have graduates that I can employ and that they fund their stipends of. So my team actually gets funded. But if you gave me that money, I probably wouldn't be able to get that resource as well. So I think we need to be very careful of only thinking that money is the only resource you need for business. You need to be resourceful, exceptionally resourceful, but understand human capital. Networks are so important. I can't think of any field where like the networks don't play, and network capital is major. So finances help for sure, it doesn't harm, but also understand that you need several resources and you need to be strategic on how to use them well.
Excellent. Sheila?
Yeah, for me so far my finance has been sales, but I won't be able to grow just based on sales. So I recognize the fact that I will need investment in my business to go to the next level. But I've been doing this for 1 year, and for this 1 year, I've been trying to collect data, understand the business, build the foundation. Because I think for many African entrepreneurs, they're like, I need financing. Then they get an opportunity to meet the investor. They don't know the data. They don't know who their target market is, the percentage of the market, you know? And I think that's also the reason why most startups in my country, at least, are foreign owned, because they are aware of how to present their business to investors. But you know, for Africans, we're not really educated in that sector of what data you need to have at hand, so that even when you meet an investor, you have a stronger negotiating power. Yes.
Nomuntu?
I agree with the ladies in terms of what they're saying, but I think where we are missing the mark in terms of access to finance is that it's not that the money is not there. The money is available for you to access the finance, but like Sheila's saying, you have to know your business in and out for you to access that finance. And I'm not just talking about loan finance. I mean, there's debt finance, there's grant finance, crowdfunding. There's all sorts of financing that you can do to help your business, but it's not always a monetary finance. Like for instance, myself, I was funded by ITC in South Africa for my business, because like I said, it's quite capital intensive for you to start that particular business successfully. So through that, I was able to see that there's other kinds of financing. Like Candice said, I also receive employees in terms of stipends, which if I had the money, I wouldn't be able to. So you have to be creative. Yeah.
Fantastic. You know, as I'm humbled as a male, to see this amazing resilience and energy and entrepreneurship, and I think we can conclude on a positive note that the future of African entrepreneurship and job creation is in good hands. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.